Next up on the number one tee.
Well, hello and welcome back to your virtual tea time. My name is Tori and I'm so excited. We have Debbie O'Connell here today from Golf Positive. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Tori. Thank you for having me. I'm over the moon excited.
No, I'm so excited. You just came from Suelo, right? Because your home base is in Tucson.
My home base is actually in New Jersey.
Oh, in New Jersey.
Yes.
Wow. Wait, so what brings you to Arizona?
I am an LPGA professional and we have our national team championship.
Oh my gosh, I just saw that. You know, Kim Eaton was playing in it, right? Do you know Kim?
I don't know Kim.
She just posted it the other day. Was it yesterday and today? Or
today
tell us
was
about
round one. Yesterday was the Pro-Am. And then today is round one.
That's what it was.
We played one best ball of two, my partner and I. And tomorrow we have our final 18 holes, which is 9 holes as a scramble, 9 holes Chapman alternate shot.
Oh, how fun. Well, I'm so glad that you made the trip up from Tucson to Phoenix. For those of you who haven't been to Arizona before, it's about an hour and 20-minute drive. So I really appreciate you making the time to come up here today.
Oh, I was so looking forward to meeting you personally and being part of this show and sharing some knowledge, hopefully, with your listeners that can help them play some better golf.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get into it, because we have today's show, we're going to talk about 4 ways to separate yourself in 2024. Since we're kicking off the new year with this podcast episode, we're going to talk about 4 ways to separate yourself with your mental game on the golf course. So before we get into that, though, I have to ask about the Solheim Cup, because what an exciting event that was this year. I mean, my eyes were glued to the television, but you were there and you took a group of women there. And I'm wondering if I actually know someone that went on the trip, but regardless, tell us about it. How'd it go?
Well, I truly believe the Solheim Cup is the greatest women's golf professional event to attend as a spectator. If you love golf, if you love to root for your country, when the Olympics come around and you have red, white, and blue on during all the holidays where we celebrate this nation of ours, you will absolutely love the Solheim Cup. It's like being at like a football game, like the Super Bowl, as well as a golf tournament and the Olympics all in one. Because we're cheering, we're screaming and yelling, and it was such an incredible, close match.
Yes, it was quite something. I mean, what a finish.
I mean, it couldn't have been any closer. It ended up tie 14-14, but Europe had the cup, so they retained the cup.
It. So tell us about the logistics of the trip, though. And I mean, you've been planning this for a while because, obviously the Solheim Cup fills up quickly and you have to find lodging and everything. So tell us a little bit about behind the scenes of organizing the trip and the ladies that went and just the whole experience.
Yeah, and men come on my trip as well. We have mostly women because many women do it as a women's golf getaway. And then this year, because it was in Spain, I had women who normally come with their friends say, I'm going to bring my husband this time because it's Spain. We're going to extend it afterwards and go somewhere else. And it's a great opportunity for couples to make a wonderful trip out of it as well. So we have much fewer men, but we have lots of them. But this started over 2 years before the Solheim Cup. So when I was finishing up the Solheim Cup in 2021, I had a group there as well. I was already starting to work on 2023. Yeah. And which I already have 2024 ready too. So what the key is when I go overseas, when the Solheim Cup is in Europe anywhere, I get a tour operator who knows the country. And that makes it so much easier for me rather than me finding a bus company, finding the best hotels, finding the golf courses. Because I do a week-long trip where we play golf for 2 days. And we have the Golf Positive Cup, which gives everyone a feel for the match play event. We have Team America versus Team USA. It's a fun match play event. They understand a little bit about what the women are going through.
Yeah. No, that's great. So it's usually every 2 years. But now this year, it's going to be again in the U.S. right in 2024. So when COVID came around, wasn't COVID 2020 a Ryder Cup year?
Yes.
So it was a Ryder Cup year, but how did this all happen? How did this all happen where the Solheim Cup had to go 2 years in a row? No.
We don't like to have the Solheim Cup the same year as the Ryder Cup.
Which
so when
rightfully
they
so.
skipped 2020, they went to 2021. And then in 2023, they were the week later and they were in Rome a week later.
Yeah.
So some people talked about, I don't know if many did it, going from Spain over to Rome. But the same thing happened during 9/11. So it was 2001. And that was a year, I think it was, they were the odd numbers at the time. And the Ryder Cup went to 2002 because they skipped it that year because it was September.
Oh, yeah,
Which is around the time they always do the Ryder Cup and Solheim Cup. They went to the even years, and then the Solheim Cup organizers say, all right, we don't want to be the same year as you. We're going to go to the odd. So then we went to the odd, and now we've switched back to the even.
Wow. And
Major world events.
well, and is it the same venue as they always planned for 2024? Like, did that venue, were they able to come a week or a year earlier now?
You know, I am not sure. The only one I ever knew about was Virginia, in Gainesville, Virginia.
Yeah.
So they were planning it to be there, but I am not 100% sure on that.
So I'm sure, are you planning a trip for?
Oh yeah, the trip is planned. I would love for some of your listeners to join me.
Well, tell us.
Oh
Tell
my
us
gosh.
about it.
It's, I love it. So I have an opening dinner and it's going to be at a place called Top of the Town it's over the Potomac River with a view of the Washington monuments because we're right outside the nation's capital. So what better place to go and cheer on Team USA than right outside our nation's capital after we have lost, not won, not retained or gotten back the cup in 3 years. So we really need everyone to get out there and root for Team USA so we can get that cup back. But we start with an opening dinner, a dinner dance. We announce the teams, Team America, Team USA. We hype everybody up. It'll be a spectacular night just to kick it off. Then we play the Golf Positive Cup the next 2 days at two private courses. It's all listed on my website as well. Stonewall and Piedmont, two private country clubs in the area, which weren't easy to get on. So I'm so excited. And then we go to the Solheim Cup and I have everything organized. So basically you just get there.
Yeah.
All the transportation is set. I get the tickets for the Solheim. I have motor coaches to take you everywhere, as far as any Solheim Cup event, any Golf Positive Cup event. And then we have a closing dinner as well. So Saturday night, we do our prizes and awards. We have another dinner. And then Sunday, I think some people, if they're commuting, might leave Sunday night, but others will stay over and leave Monday morning sometime.
That's
it's a
the best.
fabulous week.
Tell the listener where they can find more information.
Yeah, if you go to my website, Debbie hyphen, so the little dash, O'Connell.com. So it's OCONNELL.com.
All right, great. And we're going to put that in the show notes too. So just in case you're listening in the car, no need to worry. You can go right in the show notes. Okay. And then one more thing before I forget, because once we get into this content, I know I'm going to get lost in it. You have a 5-day challenge coming up, which again, this is a kickoff to the new year. So this sounds perfect to kind of get your mind straight. It is a 5-day challenge. You start on January 29th. And it's called Conquer Your Golf Mind. What is it all about? How can the listener sign up? Give us all the details.
I believe the most important part of the game of golf is your mindset. Also, if you focus on your mindset, it will improve every part of your game. I mean, wouldn't you agree as a listener that if you stepped in with confidence every time you stood on the tee, confidence on that fairway shot, confidence even if the ball went in a fairway bunker or greenside bunker, but you had the confidence you could hit a successful shot out of those, confidence on the putting green, that you will perform measurably better. I would think we'd all agree to that.
Absolutely.
Too many people are on the golf course beating themselves up and doubting themselves, getting frustrated, getting angry, that inner critic in our mind, putting ourselves down, and they're not having as much fun as they could be having. As a result, you're not playing as well. Because a calm inner mind, a calm inner body, even if you feel nervous, you can still have a calmness to you. You will play incredibly better. So it's all about conquering your mind. And it's even more than the mental game of golf. We all know so much about have a pre-shot routine, visualize your shot, take some deep breaths. Once you get into what's called the play box, make sure your mind is quiet. Picture the target and swing. We know much about that. There is more. And I teach that as well. I like to go deeper. And that's what Conquer Your Golf Mind is all about, is going deeper and understanding what is the meaning you put to that bad shot that you feel like you have to criticize yourself over it. Does it mean you're a failure? Does it mean I'm not perfect? And then when I'm not perfect, well, what does that mean? So instead, what we want to do is help you to feel the confidence, empowered, step into every shot, visualizing it and seeing it the way you want, and being able to step up and believing that you can perform that shot exactly the way you visualized it. And what does that mean? You're hitting more great shots. Your scores will be lower. Your handicap will drop. You'll win those tournaments. Teach how to make sure you finish an event. If you're about to win it, finish strong. If you're shooting your best score ever, not to self-sabotage. And what does that mean? You're just loving the game so much more.
Yeah,
you're happier.
Absolutely. I think you were talking directly to me. That's how I feel, like you're talking directly with me. So tell us about this challenge, though. Is this something you have to show up in person, or what is it all about? How do you get into it? That starts
Fantastic.
January 29th.
It's an online event, which is great. So anybody can come. I'll be in New Jersey, and sometimes I'm in Florida in the winter, but wherever I am, that's where I'll be. And it's an online event, which is great. It's at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And it's 90 minutes a day for 5 days.
That's fantastic.
Each person will also have the opportunity to have their own personal coach who's a master certified coach, where they get a welcome call, and then they'll set up a strategy session after the 5 days. So we make sure you understand everything that you've learned and you're able to implement it. And then we help you plan how you're going to move forward with this new knowledge.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Debbie, for sharing that with the listener. Now, here's the thing. To sign up, you have to text a phone number, and you're going to text positive to the phone number. The phone number is 727-339-0106. And again, all you have to do is text the word positive to that phone number. Again, if you're listening to it right now, no worries. It's in the show notes. You'll be able to grab that information there. And you also have an ebook that will also have information on it in the show notes.
Absolutely.
All right. That's fantastic.
Can I say the best part about that program?
Yes.
My team, they think I'm crazy. It's only $97.
Yeah.
5 days, 90 minutes with me coaching you. The strategy session alone is 45 minutes. That's over a $400 value. And then my time is quite valuable, what I charge for.
Absolutely.
For groups and lessons
here's the
speaking.
thing. You're going into the new year, and it's like the perfect time. A lot of us have an off season right now where you can't be out on the golf course practicing and doing the things you want to do. So why not work on this stuff now? It's perfect. Thanks, Debbie. All right. So let's get into right now. We'll give a little spoiler alert to what you're probably going to teach in that Conquer Your Golf Mind Seminar 2. So 4 ways to separate yourself with the mental game. So let's go on to number 1. You said it's take charge.
Yeah, take charge of that mental state. You have somebody who lives locally here, Amy Bockerstette. She was the young lady with Down syndrome who played the 16th hole at the Waste Management
Phoenix Open. Yep.
Phoenix Open. And they had a mic on her. And through that 16th hole, you could hear her talking. You could hear how she was talking to herself. You could actually hear how she took charge of her mental state, which our thoughts then influence our emotions. She's on the first tee. Her dad is lining her up. He says, "You got this?" And she said, "I've got this." And she stepped up there and hit a great shot. It just went in the greenside bunker to the left. Gary Woodland's there with her. She's walking down the fairway. Now, imagine, all of you listening, imagine you're playing the 16th hole, the grandstand. You're surrounded by the grandstand. And at the time, it looked like it was probably at least half full. And this is a practice round day. And she's walking down there and she sees the people and they're cheering for her. And she didn't have any fear, any worry. How many of you out there would be like, "Oh my God, just make contact, get it in the air, don't embarrass yourself"?
I would.
That little
all
voice
those
of doubt.
things. Yeah, I might not say don't embarrass myself, but I definitely would be like, just make contact, please.
Exactly. Instead, Amy said, "I've got this." She visualized the shot. She's walking down the fairway. She's waving to people saying, "They love me." So the meaning she put to the crowd was, "They love me." Mm-hmm. Gary says, "You want to hit that out of the bunker?" She said, "Yes, I do." So you hear her saying to herself, "I've got this. I can do this. I've got this. I can do it." She hits it out. She's about 10 feet from the hole. Gary's going crazy, just so excited for her. "Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome." He looks at it. He says, "A little right to left. What do you think?" She said, "I've got this." And you hear her as she's again addressing the ball. She's saying, "I've got this. I can do this." She steps up. She strokes it. It's rolling in, breaks a little left in the cup. She pars this par 3 in front of all these people. Gary's going crazy. And what Gary even learned in that moment is the power of your words and the power of your thoughts, again, which will influence how you feel. Gary took those words to the US Open later that year. He never won a major. He's leading on the last day. He gave credit to Amy by saying, Amy, I kept saying, I've got this because I learned it from you. And that's what helped me to close out this tournament and win my first ever US Open.
Isn't that amazing? What a great story that is. And because I could also, I know that that's true. Like, I know Gary Woodland learned that, felt that, experienced that with Amy, and he used that in that tournament. Like, absolutely he did. Because that's also what golf is all about. You get your inspiration from all sorts of things, and that's incredible.
What brings us home to me, Tori, is we have an opportunity for teenage girls called the LPJ Leadership Academy. I was blessed by being invited to help co-write the curriculum for that. We started in 2015. In 2016, we had a leadership academy here in Phoenix. Amy was in that class, and that's actually where she learned. And I'm the lead instructor of that. And I taught her on that, and along with the other LPGA professionals, to take charge of your emotional state with your words and your body and say, I've got this. So that's what brings it home. The other thing Amy does so well is the power pose. So many people know about the power pose. Literally use that on the golf course, because when you get your body in a confident position, it will create confidence. It changes the neurochemicals. It changes your hormones to give you the confidence you need to step up to the next shot. So your words and your body are going to be two things that help you. And one other thing in terms of mindset and taking charge of this emotional state, if you ever do find you have that knot in your stomach or that little inner critic that's starting to beat you up a little bit, change your body, shift your thoughts to gratitude. You cannot be stressed and thankful at the same time. So when you shift to gratitude, it will literally calm your body. And I don't need it anymore because I stay in a positive mindset. But years ago when I did need this, I would feel that knot in my stomach. I'd remove myself from the game. I'd look around and say, wow, I'm so lucky I'm out here. I'm so thankful to be out on the golf course today. I can see, I can talk, I can walk. Not everybody can. Not everybody can who plays golf do all those things. And I look at that, and then that calmness comes over me. And now I can get back in focus on the game.
Absolutely. So what would you say to the listener when they are able to recognize that they aren't taking charge? They're recognizing the negative self-talk that might be going on. What would be your first step to kind of realign in a better position to take on the next golf shot?
Interrupt yourself. Like say, stop, no, cancel, not true. Here we go. And then literally change your body, like a real abrupt move with your body. Like anytime I talk confidence, I can't help myself, but I automatically start to put my shoulders back, my chest up, right?
Sit up a little bit.
You want to get that confidence. So change your body and then start a new dialogue. I've got this. I can do this. And if you're stuck in the past and you can't let go of a shot, or you're too far in the future beating yourself up for where the ball went, become a commentator. Pretend you have your own podcast and you're announcing, okay, I'm standing here on the tee. Now I'm going to walk to my ball, because it helps to get you in the present moment. And that's part of what we're also going to talk about with one of the 4 steps, is being in that present moment. And you can do that by just be a commentator. Say exactly what I'm walking I'm walking back to my cart right now. This is where I am in this moment. I'm putting my club away. Just change that and then get into the positives. I'm okay. Get the next shot, one shot at a time.
Yeah. Well, since you golf today, Debbie, how is your golf game today? Was there anything out there that you kind of had to check yourself on and be like, get out of that negative self-talk?
You know, I have been training this for so long. That part I don't do. And this is what I did to prepare for my tournament, because I didn't spend a lot of time playing or practicing. I practiced mentally. And this is something for those of you who are saying, oh, I want to get better at golf, I just don't have the time. Your brain won't know the difference between you before you go to sleep. Visualize yourself playing the game, looking through your own eyes, feel what you would feel, hear what you would hear, see what you would see, and practice hitting shots. I was doing that over and over and over on my way out to Tucson, because I didn't go and hit golf balls because I was, busy running my business. I don't play for a living, but I enjoy coming to these events. I love to get the competitive juices going again. And it's fun to, be with my colleagues. It's just a great group of women, and I learn something every time from somebody. So I love being part of the events, even though I don't play a whole lot.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say. I mean, if you don't want to play a lot of golf, get in the golf industry. Or if you like to play golf, don't get into the golf industry,
exactly.
Right?
But here's what I didn't do was use that as an excuse.
Yes.
Because I heard some of my colleagues, well, I haven't been playing. And I promised myself, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to give my brain any reason not to play well. And I made 2 birdies today. I was really excited about that. I hit some of those other shots, but I'm not going to focus on those tonight.
Yeah.
I'm going to focus on the ones that felt good, that I hit well right at the stick and stuck it. There were so many great things to remember. And I know we're going in order of the 4, but since we're here, remember the 19th hole is not a place to commiserate over all of your bad shots because you're just reinforcing them. Start to think about and talk about. Now that people are like, well, people will think I'm bragging, but talk about the exciting shots you hit. Don't always just go, oh yeah, I shot this, but if I hadn't done this, or I hit it out of bounds there, I got a penalty there, or whatever all happened. You want to let those go as quickly as possible.
Well, and I think that the first instinct that a lot of us have when we're sitting at the 19th hole, I won't be able to say the word.
Commiserating
over our golf round. I feel sometimes that maybe we don't want to start talking about the good shots that we were proud of because we don't want to sound like we're bragging, or maybe some of our buddies played what they thought was not good golf and we don't want to shove it in their face. But yeah, you're right. We should be celebrating that more. Or how about this? You're in the restaurant after the round and you're kind of walking around, and the obvious question is to ask someone is, how was your game today? 9 times out of 10, whoever you ask is going to say something negative. And isn't that crazy? So I actually purposefully, when someone asks how my game was today or how was your day, I will purposely say something positive most of the time. I'm sure a negative thought gets out there every now and again, but I'll be like, game was good. It was a beautiful day. Everything's good. Because you hear the negative part of it so much more that it's like, do we really want to get on that train? That can't help.
No, and it doesn't help. It just reinforces the memory of the poor shots. Now, sometimes it's a great story. Right? Sometimes it is. It's a funny story. And as long as you're not emotionally attached to it in the negative way, it's pretty good. It's a funny thing to laugh at yourself sometimes. But when you're using it as an excuse, or that's what you hear too. Oh, I had my game going great, and then the course was all backed up.
Yeah. Or I just had a lesson the other day, or I got new clubs or something or other, or I haven't played in a while, like you were talking about earlier. It's like when you're giving yourself those excuses, especially right off the bat, it's like you're welcoming it almost.
Yeah. Well, your brain is listening.
Yeah.
To everything you said. And we are all more powerful than any of us really know. And part of that power comes from our brain and what you tell your brain. But on that note, Jack Nicklaus was in an interview one time and they went, hey, Jack, tell us about whatever hole it was where you had the double bogey. He says, I don't really remember much about that hole, but let me tell you about that great eagle I made on this hole, or the birdie I made on that. Yeah. Listen to Tiger Woods' interviews. Listen closely, because he won't talk about the bad stuff. Like they'll say, hey, Tiger, what happened? You had this many putts today. What happened? Well, I stroked it really well. I thought I did well reading the line, put a good stroke on it. They just didn't fall today.
Yeah. Which that is most days, people. It doesn't have to be something specific. It could just be, it just didn't drop today. That's all. All right, moving on to number 2, which I'm excited to talk about just because it has the F word in it, which is
and it's
flow.
4 letters.
Yes, exactly. A 4-letter F word that I actually also really appreciate, the word flow. So set yourself up to be in flow. Let's talk about it. What does that mean to you?
Well, flow is an optimal state of consciousness. It's where we perform our best, where we make the best decisions, where everything in golf is balanced in rhythm, tempo, timing. Every decision you make out on that golf course is the right decision. The game kind of seems easy to you. Many compare it to being in the zone. You are immersed in the moment. You are so focused and in the present moment that nothing distracts you. Yeah, I remember talking with Nancy Lopez, and she said that her entire career, people would say, "Oh my gosh, did you hear that? The porta potty bathroom door closed." And she said, "I would never hear it." She said, "I knew," when she'd go out and play some Legends event or later on in her career, she said, "I knew my focus wasn't the same when all of a sudden I'd start hearing the door slam." She said something changed. So she wasn't as zoned in anymore or in flow. So flow is a phrase the name was coined by a gentleman by the name of Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. He was the head of the psychology department at the University of Chicago. He's Hungarian. He traveled the world asking people who were fulfilled and successful, how they did it. When does their life feel the best? When are you at your best? And they all had the same characteristics. And one of them is being in the moment. Just imagine your life in general in flow. If we could all be in the moment. When you're having a conversation with somebody, even if your phone goes ding, that you don't lose it. You don't go look at it. You don't want to grab it. When you're in a crowded room, I've been in that situation. I think many people probably have. When you're talking with someone, they are looking you directly in the eye, and there's people all over the place, and their eyes never leave you. And you feel like you're the only person in the room to them and the most important person. That's that kind of focus. That's being in the present moment. All of you, imagine that on the golf course. If every shot you were just focused, you didn't have these doubtful thoughts coming in. Or how many of you have done this? You're over the ball, you've decided on your club, and then the breeze comes up, or you're distracted by something, and you're like, "Oh yeah, just swing."
Yeah.
And we swing anyway.
Yes.
That is never a good shot.
I'm just going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
It never works out.
So when you're in flow, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Because if you are distracted, which you most likely won't be, you'll step away.
Yeah.
And then reset. Because there are sometimes there's noises out there or something, or the breeze might come up and you notice it. And now you want to go step away and go think about it and then decide and then get back into your routine. But what drives flow is focus. So we want to have triggers that drive focus. One of the triggers is curiosity. Just think about when you're curious about something, you're going to focus on it. Anything, hey, I want to, hit my drive a certain way, or what will it be like on this course? I'm excited to see this entire golf course today. I'm curious about how this tournament's going to go today. I'm curious how the greens are going to go today. When you have some curiosity in anything, you start to focus on it a little more. And then you start to have a passion about it because now you're learning about it and you want to learn more. Just think of the times you've been the most passionate, you've focused on it. When people fall in love, where's their focus? I mean, they're so in flow and focus with that person. But many professional golfers have described it as that state of mind where their rhythm and tempo timing is just perfect.
Yeah.
And they're not thinking. We basically lose our, the prefrontal cortex is where our thoughts are, conscious thoughts, and it goes quiet. We use less of our brain because it's called transient hypofrontality. So transients that change. Hypo is the opposite of hyper. So less. Frontality is that front of your brain, the prefrontal cortex. And it goes quiet. I would say everyone listening to this has hit that shot where you're like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I didn't feel anything. I didn't notice anything. Wasn't thinking. I just made a swing. And it just, sometimes I call that for people, it's the I don't give a hoot shot. Say you're out there just practicing and maybe you're a little frustrated. You go, darn it. And you just put one down. You don't think and you swing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, where's that been all day?
Exactly.
Well, all the other ones you're thinking too much.
Yeah. So if flow is our optimal state, how can we best set us up to get into that state? What can we do? Breath
work is huge. So breathing is key. Even the Navy SEALs will use box breathing, where they breathe in 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, breathe out for 4 counts, and hold for 4 counts. It's called the box.
Yeah.
Right. So they use that to calm the sympathetic nervous system, right? There's another breathing technique that I was using today quite a bit to help me stay focused is breathe in through your nose, breathe out like you're breathing out through a straw, and exhale for longer than your inhale. So if it was 4 counts in, go 8 counts out. If it was 6 counts in, go 10 counts out. Anything longer that really calms the nervous system.
Yeah.
Which is what we want to do. And when we're calmer, it's easier for us to focus. So breath work is a huge key. And like I said, pay attention. What happens in flow is your ego disappears, the inner critic disappears. So you want to use what step one was, take charge of your emotional state to make sure you're in a positive state of mind and body. So with that, and then, like I said, the commentator, anything to get you in the present moment. So focus drives flow, and breath work. When you're breathing and you're paying attention to your body, it brings you into the moment. I remember many years ago, I was actually a frustrated bowler. Any of you bowl out there, 10-pin bowling?
Okay, wait, I am into this story. Whatever you're about to say, I'm into it now.
Well, I was a good bowler when I did bowl. And now if I go for fun, I do okay. I wanted to have a 300 game. And I was good enough to do it. I would get to 7 in a row. I would get so nervous and I'd blow it. I'd get so nervous, I'd blow it. And this was happening week after week. I'd have one game where I had the first however many strikes, 6, 7, 8, and then I'd blow it because of the nerves. I decided I'm going to conquer this. I'm going to conquer my mind because I knew it was all mental. I also worked on the physical. I went to a gentleman by the name of Nelson Burton Jr. He's in the Bowling Hall of Fame. I went to a sports psychologist, and she was also a hypnotherapist. So meditation is another way to enhance flow state by meditating and doing what I said, imagining yourself hitting those great shots. And when you're doing that, imagine being so focused in the play box. So you can train your brain in your mind. So I had a meditation I would do every night. We would have conversation. I was going for my lessons. I was even working on my fitness. I was like so determined. I am going to have a 300 game. At that time, I was also working on my golf game. So the night came in bowling where the day before I had a great practice session, and the second game, I went into this flow state where I kept saying, me and my target, me and my target. I got past that 8th one in a row, the 9th, the 10th. Now, there's no one else in the lanes bowling. They're all standing behind me because now it's the 10th frame.
Oh my God.
I get number 10. My heart is pounding, my nerves in my body. Throw number 11. And now Tori, I don't think I can walk. I am so nervous. I pick up the ball. I went into the same routine. So this is what I want everybody to know. First tee jitters, coming down the stretch, about to win the tournament, shooting great golf that you're getting nervous because you're playing better, way better than your handicap or your best round ever. And our body's going to react because it's important to us.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. It's okay. I want everybody to know, because this is what I didn't know for years. You can perform well, as well. You can perform great and sometimes even better, even when you're so nervous. And I didn't believe that until I started working with a sports psychologist, because the announcers would always say, oh, the nerves got to them if they blew it. If they succeeded, they have ice in their veins, right? So I had this belief of, I don't have ice in my veins. I get too nervous.
Yeah. Like you either have it or you don't, kind of thing.
And that's what I had grown up with, just watching sports commentators and sports on TV. But now I know, and I want everyone to know, you just focus on your intention. Let your body do what it's going to do. Take your breath. Try to get as relaxed as possible. And I just said, me in my spot. That's what I said for all 12. I released that, and oh my God, I felt so good. And I was like so excited, like, please all fall. And boom, they hit the pocket. They all fell. I was jumping up and down crying because, sometimes when you achieve a goal that really was a struggle, it means even that much more.
Absolutely.
Around that same time, I was in a golf tournament, and I shot about a week later, shot my low score ever with all these people. I used to think they were all so much better than me. They were the players. They were the competitive ones. I wasn't. I was just kind of surviving out there. I went out and played, and it was that present moment. And if I got ahead of myself, I would say, just present moment, come back to now. And I would take a breath and feel my body and bring myself in. So do everything you can to get into that present moment. Breath is great. Remind yourself consciously, and then go, okay, me and my target, whatever the target you pick, just get on that and focus.
And it's also probably why a routine is so important too, because the routine is almost another way of getting in flow, getting in the present moment, because you are doing your routine to make the perfect golf shot.
Our brain likes familiarity. No matter what. People stay in pretty negative situations sometimes in their life just because it's familiar. I was just listening to another podcast, which I love podcasts. I'm so excited you have this one. And they were saying we get addicted to even negative emotions just because they're so familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
We get addicted to the inner critic. We get addicted to guilt for those of us, anybody who feels guilty. We get addicted to feeling sad because it's familiar. And to change, we really need to shift. We need to have a mental shift. And that gets uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah.
So routine in the positive sense is so key, because as soon as you go into your routine, even in a pressure-packed situation, your brain says, oh, okay, we've done this before. I'm comfortable here.
Yeah.
We can do this.
Yeah. I can sometimes recognize with myself about worrying. Like I'm probably a little more comfortable to worrying than like we're just saying, we can get attached to these negative emotions. Sometimes when I go a period of time without worrying about something, I almost say to myself, wait, there's got to be something to worry about. I can't, how is it possible that I'm not worrying about something right now? So I would say that's how I can relate to that, what you were just talking to.
And I bet many people can. And didn't we all grow up hearing, if it's too good to be true, it is, right? Or if it's going great, right, it isn't. Or if it's going great, the ball's going to drop soon, like it can't last forever.
Yeah.
Why not?
Exactly.
Why not? Challenge that.
Yeah.
Challenge it.
Agreed.
Manifest your own positive life and game.
Okay, so we're going to get into number 3, which is take responsibility, but I have to back up. I have a couple questions about bowling. I just can't. I have to ask at least a handful of questions, okay? Because I've actually never talked to a bowler before, okay? Because to me, when I go bowling, it is just like, okay, let's pick a pretty pink ball and we'll see what happens. But I am not good whatsoever. So what separates a really good bowler from an average one? Because it seems like to me when I can catch a bowling competition or tournament, is that what you call it, a tournament?
Yes.
On ESPN, it seems like they're easily shooting the 300 mark. So how do they separate themselves from the top tier? What's the difference?
Mental game.
It is?
I promise. Isn't that the same with golf?
Yeah.
You go to the driving range of any tournament, LPGA, PGA, and you watch how they hit the ball. They all hit the ball great. Watch them practice their short game. They're all great at it. The person who can do that in the heat of the competition is the one who's going to win, and the best mental game. Tiger Woods. His dad, this is why meditation's important. His dad would take him to a buddy of his who was Navy SEALs, I think, and he would hypnotize Tiger, and he'd go out and play golf in a hypnotic state, which is our brain waves. We have alpha and theta are the delta sleeping. When sometimes you ever get a great idea and it's just when you're waking up or just when you're falling asleep, because you're going into this very creative part of your brain. Beta is when we're awake, when you can play more in a relaxed brainwave state of mind as well. And that's what Tiger got good at. And that's self-hypnosis as well. And all hypnosis is really self-hypnosis. No one can hypnotize anyone unless they're willing. Even the stage shows, the person on the stage, they know how to find people in the audience who are willing. They ask a bunch of questions. Like if someone's like, all right, I'm going to prove you can't hypnotize me, they'll never be on stage. But anyway, so you can, in a meditative state, get practicing with golf, with bowling, but that's why he was so tough. He'd be in this state of mind. You could look in his eyes. You knew he was in a different state of mind than so many other golfers on the golf course that day. But it's definitely a mental game. For you bowl for fun?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's not that frequent by any means, but it's just...
The whole thing is trust the pendulum. And the pendulum is your shoulder is the center point. Push the ball away from your body and basically let it drop and swing back and through, and it'll swing straight. It's when we try to control it and steer it that gets in the way. Same thing with a golf shot.
Same thing with a golf shot. Yeah.
Mickey Wright was heard saying in an interview one time after being asked, Mickey, seems like every time you line up, the ball goes right where you want it to go. How do you do that all day long? She says, I don't care where it's going to go. So imagine you plan it. This is what I tell people all the time with the pre-shot routine. Plan it, visualize it like it means the world, like it's everything to you. You're going to see it so clearly because your brain needs clarity. That's part of flow state too. Very clear goal, very clear. Plan it like that. And then when you step into that play box, swing like you don't care because you got to let it go. Yeah. Same thing with bowling. Let your arm swing.
My goodness. See, sometimes I don't know where this podcast is going to go, but I love it. Okay. So on to number 3, take responsibility. How is that going to separate us from our playing competitors?
This one is huge. That so many golfers are in the passenger seat of the cart of their game. Why? Slow play comes along and they blame their poor play after that on slow play. The ranger or player assistant came along and bothered me. I had a playing partner today who was talking my ear off and she was so negative and it ruined my game. It ruined my day. That is not taking charge of your game.
Yeah.
And when you do that, the next time you play, slow play, your brain's like, oh, I guess we can't play well today because there's slow play. We're going to lose our rhythm. So now you're pre-programming yourself. When you're letting things and everything, you're giving these excuses. So you're at the effect of your environment. So that's being in effect. I'm being affected by everything and none of it's my fault.
Yeah.
Because it's everything outside of me.
Exactly.
You disempower yourself. So instead, what can you do? Slow play comes. Plan it beforehand. All right, I have a plan. Okay, I'm going to stay in the cart a little longer. I'm going to have more conversation with my playing partner. All right, I'm going to get out. I'm going to do some extra stretching. I'm going to look around the golf course and just be in a state of appreciation. I'm going to stand in the power pose to get my confidence up. I'm going to ignore them and not focus on something I can't control. What you can and can't control is key in life. If you can control it and you can do something, great. If you can't, let it go. Let it go.
Yeah.
So get a game plan and then say, okay, they're gone. To my turn to hit. I'm going to get in my pre-shot routine. I'm going to take my breath. I'm going to get myself focused. I'm going to have a clear target to help bring on flow state and step in there and play my game. And it's my responsibility to play well, no matter what's happening. Now I'm causing my own outcome.
Exactly. And it's really no different when you start complaining about slow play or complaining that the ranger came up and knocked you off your game or complain about your playing partners for whatever reason. It is not any different than just telling yourself that you're a bad person for hitting the golf shot that didn't go your way. I mean, it's the same thing. It's that same negative energy. It's no different.
And negative energy will not serve you well. And you're disempowering yourself because now you've given yourself these excuses to not play well. So your brain's like, oh, okay, I guess we can't play well in this situation.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're done.
Yeah. And you check out.
Yeah. But where I go with Conquer Your Golf Mind is I go deeper and figure out what's important to you about having that excuse. So much of golf and the negative thoughts and emotions that come on a golf course, it's life. That stuff comes from beliefs and beliefs that were embedded in us as a child. So imagine just a kid gets 98 on a test and the only focus of their parents is what happened on the 2 you got wrong. So we develop a belief, I have to be perfect to feel loved or valued.
Yeah.
Right. So what is the meaning? So this is where I go. And that's why it's mindset and not just mental game. I do all the mental game, like I said, but then we're going to figure out what's the meaning you're putting to these things that makes you need an excuse and not take that responsibility. What it mean if you hit a bad shot? Yeah. I'm a failure. If I do one thing wrong, I have to be that's where we go a little deeper. And that's why, like I said, I call it mindset because it's so much more than just the conscious mind mental game strategies, which are important. And I teach them and I value them and I know they work as well. And we can still self-sabotage at the end of an event if we don't understand the deeper parts of the brain and the unconscious.
And also we're trying to become more aware of why we're having these thoughts so that we can process them quicker. And again, at the end of the day, have more fun on the golf course.
Absolutely.
Because I'll tell you, the worst days on the golf course is, I think for me personally, have been mostly self-inflicted. You know what I mean? Like you just put yourself in that position when there was no reason for it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I love that. Take responsibility. For a little behind the scenes right now. I have my dog here, my puppy here. She got trained this past month. She just got brought home from the trainer. And he's like, you need to take her every single place you can. And so today I had to golf. So after golf, I ran home and I picked her up. But she has been, for the past 10 minutes, wiggling in between my chair, through the next chair, underneath. She has not been well trained at all. So thank you, Debbie, for being patient.
Oh my God.
I'm trying
she's
not.
adorable.
She's
actually
doing the best
she can.
Yeah, she's doing a very good job. It's just the past 7.5 minutes, she was a little wiggly. So thank you for that, for not being too distracted with her.
Oh, she's so sweet.
Okay,
Right.
On to number 4, visualization and meditation. So we already kind of touched on meditation, but how does this bring this whole 4 ways to separate us from our competitors into a nice little package?
When we meditate on what we want, so that's the key to meditation. And people are like, oh, man, I don't meditate. I can't, I get these different thoughts. It's okay. And basically it's take some deep breaths and get yourself quiet. Or you can listen, you can find meditations that are free out there too. Some are guided. And it doesn't mean you just have to sit there with a quiet mind for 5 minutes. It's okay. When I first started, I couldn't get 10 seconds without a thought coming in my head. But it's not that. It's just basically getting quiet, taking deep breaths, and imagining the future you want. Your brain will help you. We have a thing in our brain called the reticular activating system, RAS for short. And basically we tell it what to focus on, what to look for. So when you start to imagine yourself playing better golf, hitting that drive down the middle of the fairway, hitting shots into greens that are really close to the hole, or making that bunker shot or chip shot where it's landing right where you want it, and you see yourself playing that game. It's a meditative state when you're doing that outside of, golf, just before you go to sleep, just imagine the game that you're capable of playing. Imagine you doing that perfectly. There was a gentleman, and many of the listeners may have heard this story. He was a POW in Vietnam, and he knew the only thing that he could control while in prison was his own mind. And he said, that's the one thing I will take charge of. Because they can beat me in my body. They can not feed me. They can feed me. They can put me in a cell. They can hold me here. And I have no control of any of that. But I can control my mind. I can decide to put positive things in my mind. He played 18 holes of golf every day. From getting dressed in his house, looking through his own eyes, picking out his clothes. Because he was like a single digit, 8 or 9 handicap before he was a prisoner of war. He was there for about 7 years. 6 weeks after he got out, and he weighed 100 pounds, he was invited to play in a PGA Tour event, Pro-Am. Mm-hmm. He played in the event and shot 76. Mm-hmm. He didn't touch a club for 7 years. So how did he do that? He played golf every single day in his mind. Your brain doesn't know the difference. So imagine the future that you want. You want to win a club championship? You want to be a certain handicap? Put it out there in the future. Mm-hmm. And imagine it. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? What is it on the golf course when you're feeling that shot? Imagine yourself finishing your best round and being confident, taking charge of your emotional state, being in flow state, taking full responsibility for your game, doing these 4 steps. Imagine all of it, and then your brain will help you create it. Now you've got a partner, right? Mm-hmm. Rather than telling your brain the things that make you unhappy or you don't want.
I imagine you work with a lot of women golfers. Is there anything in particular that you see more with women than with men, or vice versa? Is there anything in particular that women might struggle with more on the golf course or with their mental game more than men, or that are unique to women?
Yeah, I'll share this by sharing a story, and I've only experienced it with women. Okay. I play in Pro-Ams. Mm-hmm. And many times, one of my Pro-Am partners, who's a woman, will be playing amazing golf. Better than her handicap. Yeah. Like a, 25 handicapper making pars, chipping in for a birdie, hitting these great shots. And about 4 or 5 holes in of that great golf, and only a woman has done this. She'll be like, I don't know who showed up today. This isn't me. I'm not this good. Don't expect this all day. Please don't put the pressure. I don't know who this is. This is really not my game. I'm not a sandbagger. So all of a sudden, women get afraid of the expectation. Mm-hmm. I think women are more worried about being judged, being called a sandbagger. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can take a guy, many, and this isn't 100% either way, but you can take some guys who'd be like, yep, this is my game.
Yeah, exactly.
This is me today. I'm putting it all together right now. This is what I've been expecting to do for a long time. It wouldn't matter. But so, ladies, be confident. Celebrate your success. Play well. Just stay in the moment and play your game. Quit getting in the way and self-sabotaging because all of a sudden it doesn't match, your handicap. Well, the idea is to get better than your handicap.
Exactly. So celebrate it. I love that you said that because that is the word right there. Like, do not apologize whatsoever for playing really well.
Exactly. And if somebody compliments you, just simply say thank you.
Exactly.
Because this is what women do too. Hey, Tori, oh my gosh, what a great shot. Yeah, I hit it, 10 yards right of where I was aiming.
Yeah. Or I got lucky.
Again, disempowering, not taking the responsibility of the good stuff or the bad stuff, right?
Yeah. Or what's the other saying? Or every squirrel finds a nut or so. Every blind squirrel finds a nut.
Exactly. Saying that.
Like, why are you? Stop.
Said a thank you. Thank you is a good thing to say.
Exactly.
Thank you. They complimented you.
I have a friend, Leslie, and maybe Leslie's listening to this episode, that every time you compliment her good shots, she'll go, thank you. Just like that. She is the best when it comes to just taking a compliment, like appreciating it. She'll tell you thank you so much. And it's like, let's just start doing that.
Yes.
It's totally fine. Like, enjoy that compliment.
That would be huge, wouldn't it? Just that. Just take the compliment. Don't deflect it. Don't make an excuse for it. Don't just go, oh, but the one you hit was way better.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. We'll do that too but you didn't even acknowledge. And acknowledging it, I think, is just polite.
Yeah. Agreed.
Isn't it?
Yes.
If someone compliments you, don't discard their compliment. Mm-hmm. Accept it and thank them for complimenting you before you go and, deflect from it.
I love that we touched on that. Well, Debbie, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Thank you again for making the trek up from Tucson. Again, it is not a small trip, so I really appreciate you for doing that. And again, for all the listeners listening, go check out in the show notes the 5-day challenge, Conquer Your Golf Mind. You start on January 29th, so there's still some time to sign up. And then also you have an ebook out there too that you can text Flo to a phone number. But again, all the information is right in the show notes. So no need to stress about that. Just go check it out in the show notes.
And the Solheim Cup as well. But Tori, thank you. You are an amazing, amazing host of this show. And I so enjoy being here. I'm glad I made the drive. And what a thrill to be part of the show.
This will not be the last time we chat. And we really need to golf too together at some point.
I would love that.
So we'll figure it out.
This was a crazy year. I got to Phoenix twice within 4 weeks.
I know.
And that's not normal in my schedule, but I was so happy that it worked out this time.
Well, and I'm born and raised from Rochester, New York, so I'm very familiar with the northeast sector of the country, so I might be heading maybe your way instead.
Please let me know. I'm just outside New York City if you're ever in the area.
Fantastic. Thanks, Debbie, for being on.
Thank you for having me.